All right. Hello. Welcome back for chapter 11 of Meakashi. Um, I was gonna record yesterday. I gotta record today if I was gonna make Wednesday, and I didn't even notice how consistent I've been hitting the 7 day, 7 vids a week. So I kind of want to keep that consistency. The last 2 days I've been having some sleeping problems. I was trying to record yesterday day, but in that day I got like 3 hours of sleep in total. Just couldn't fall asleep. And yesterday I did get like 5 hours, which is more normal for me. But I fell asleep at 5 a.m., so it's pretty cursed. I don't know. I even bought chamomile tea, so I might just brew some of that after I upload this for tomorrow. But yeah, I want to get going with this. Can't stop the Hidu train. Um, but during that like last night when I was literally just like awake the whole time, I was thinking about stuff, and I was also thinking about Higurashi. So there are like mainly about Mion. It's kind of unprecedented, how much I like her now as a character, and to the point where I don't even know why. Like I know the reasons why I like her, but her what's it called? Oh, I don't know. The amount I like her has just been like steadily rising, and I don't actually know why. So it's kind of weird. Obviously there are some factors. I don't know if I've like obvious from the different stuff. I mean, we've seen a lot of cute Mion in this one. I also really do like romanticizing organized characters. So it's obviously that goes in the book. But you know what? I'm gonna say it. I've been holding off saying it. But I think it's kind of clear, at least for this moment, at the recording of this video. I think Mion is my favorite character right now over Satoto. I said it. I think I kind of explained it like a video or two ago, but it's just like not fun when Satoto's on screen now. Like I know some people don't like Satoto because of her sense of humor and cuteness, I guess, but I really liked it. I like the meme values, but it has just not been fun with her. It's just been depressing. We got like what 5 minutes of her being happy in this one. Maybe next arc we'll get more, and then I will enjoy myself again. But I'm sure the seventh arc is probably gonna be depressing too. So it's just sadness, and I guess on paper you can add that as something good to a character, like adding depth, but for enjoyability, it's just not fun. Also, curtain calls don't count, I know, but those are just memes. Like everything's just a meme in that, so it doesn't count. I need a happy Satoto. So for now, Mion's taking the top spot. Don't worry, Satoto, you're immortalized as my channel's profile picture for the foreseeable future. Don't plan on changing that. And you're also like my wallpaper with Rika. Don't see on changing that either. But yeah, though that's the current character stocks in Aiden's Higurashi stock market. How are other characters? Well, Keiichi hasn't changed. Ren has been like the most stable character ever. I guess Keiichi and Rika have slightly went up. Shion, you know what? I'll leave it until the ending. Who knows about Shion? I guess Satoshi's the new character. He's alright. I liked him. He was wholesome. He was cool. Hopefully we'll see more of him. I'm sure we'll see at least some more of him in whatever the seventh arc is called. But enough of that. Let's go into chapter 11. What's gonna happen this time? I guess death wise, it's probably gonna be Kimiyoshi. I believe Rita's either the night of this chapter or the next day after. I think it's the next day after Kimiyoshi. Um, Maybe we'll get the phone call. Though, though that happened, I believe the phone call happened the same night as Rika. I mean, technically it happened after Rika got kidnapped along with, well, not kidnapped. Well, actually, we don't know what happened. We're just assuming it goes with Rena's thing where Rika went for soy sauce, but where Rika and Satoko die. I like how we just talked about how much I like Mion, and I still love Satoko. And I mean, what's gonna happen in this arc? Mion's gonna get like mentally tortured and then yeeted down a well, and Satoko's probably gonna get tortured and killed. I mean, killed for sure, but probably tortured. Knowing Shion's opinions of Satoko, so that's that's gonna be fun times. So yeah. Kimiyoshi might die this chapter. Shion's gonna be pretending to be Mion. It'll be interesting how she deals with like any other relatives asking about Oryu and stuff. That's the spiciness, and obviously she does succeed. So let's go with that. Chapter 11. Whee. What is this? Oh, never mind. You know the sound. I was having such a happy dream. Satoshi-kun was in the dream. He was leading his normal everyday life. Baseball Satoshi. He was back on the baseball team. Irie and I acted normally around him because we knew that's how mature people should act. We welcomed him back as if he had been here with us the whole time. Although he hits well in practice sessions, he still doesn't do well in a real game. Come on, Satoshi-kun. 3 strikes already. I'm cheering for you. Then Satoshi-kun pouted as he mumbled. I felt tears pouring down my face. Oh, sniffle.
Satoshi-kun. Satoshi-kun.
Get closer to that mic. The happy dream faded out with my sobs. I wonder if Tasa is gonna help Shion navigate through this. He might. It's like definitely even spicier than what Shion's done before. I don't know. I'm pretty sure she would die if the family found out about it. There's no really saving her if she actually killed Oryu. And she's about to kill a bunch more people, so maybe Tasa will still help though. He is Shion's best bro, I think. Yeah, I guess, out of everyone. The harder I tried to focus on it, the faster it faded. Soon it was all gone. I could see the bright morning sun through a crack in the curtains. I was in Mion's room at the Sonozaki house. When did I come back? I was crouching in the corner of the room and crying. A dream is a dream. I wish I hadn't woken up. But one must wake up from a dream. We live in a world where there are no dreams, and that's why we always wake up. And deep. But I wasn't sure if I was the only one dreaming that dream. Because I felt like Satoshi-kun was right beside me.
Satoshi-kun? 帰ってきてくれたんだ.
There is no reply. That was the rule. If it was Satoshi-kun, I wish it'd smile at me just once. But Satoshi-kun's presence faded away, as if he were never there to begin with. I heard the phone ring by the front door. Ah, that's right. I was the only one in the house now. I had to answer it. I got up to walk to the front door. I felt unsteady, so I put my hand on the wall to support myself. I hardly got any sleep. I feel you. It was like I had a bad cold. The phone continued to ring. I probably didn't have to answer it, actually. But I was still half asleep, and all I could think of was answering the phone.
はい、園崎です。
朝早くにすみませんな。君吉でございます。
Hi, Kimiyoshi.
おばあちゃんまだお休みですかな？
It was Uncle Kimiyoshi. Lots of encoding errors. I haven't turned the computer off for a while. Obviously, since I've just been on it since I couldn't sleep.
はい、
Should do that today or tomorrow.
昨日のが答えたみたいです。しばらく寝かせておこうと思います。
そうだね。無理に起こしちゃ悪いな。ミオンちゃんもこれから学校だよね。じゃあ枕元に伝言を置いといてもらってもいいかな。
わかりました。何と伝言しましょう。
ね。
Music switch.
昨日の件で緊急に役員会を開くことになったんだけど、それをね、今日の夕方の5時から神社の集会所でって伝えてもらえる？
I forgot the details. I guess Kimiyoshi got caught after he went to the meeting, or was it before? I forgot, but obviously Keiichi sort of cornered the caller for it.
わかりました。伝えておきます。
As soon as I put the phone down, it rang again.
はい、園崎です。
早朝から申し訳ありません。笠井と申しますが、ミオンさんですか？
Hello,
おはようござい
Kasai.
ます。
笠井さんですか？おはようございます。
シオンさんはまだそちらにいらっしゃいますか？
I wasn't panicked, but I hesitated. I could tell him no, or I could play both Mion and Shion.
シオンはさっき顔を洗ってました。呼んできますね。
I decided to play two parts. I went back and forth down the hallway and picked up the phone again.
笠井？おはようです。
おはようございます、シオンさん。今日は登校されますか？
するわけないです。たるいし。
まあそんなとこだとは。それでシオンさん、沖宮へ帰る足はありますか？若いのに迎えに行かせますが。
君吉のおじいちゃんとかそのあたりに送ってもらおうかなと思ってます。私のことは放っておいてくれて OK です。
親父さんから出席日数だけは守らせるように厳命を受けていますので、私の小指のためにもご協力をいただきたいもんです。
まあ気が向いたら努力します。それより笠井、聞いてる？
聞いてるとは？
昨日のあれ。
一応は恐ろしい話です。
これまでのたたりの犠牲者はさ、みんなダム戦争の時の戦犯だったわけじゃない？それが今年はちょいと路線が違う感じですよね。どう思う？
さあ、私の預かり知るところの話ではありません。
Kasai wasn't the type to talk too much. If it was about something complicated, he usually responded like that.
昨べの犠牲者の2人がどうしてお社様のたたりを受けたか知ってる？
いいえ。
実は昨べちょっと聞いた話だと、なんか綿流しの最中に最後殿にこっそり忍び込んだらしいよ。鍵を針金か何かで開けて。
Kasai went silent for a while. I held my breath while waiting to see how he responded. I expected him to say that he couldn't believe those people were chosen as the victims for just sneaking into a storehouse. I expected him to say that it was just too unrealistic.
そうですか。 バカなことを。
あまあ富武さんもそのあたりには疎いよそ者だったってことだね。
I went along with Kasai, but I felt disturbed on the inside. Kasai didn't wonder why breaking into the ritual storehouse would justify their deaths. I had known Kasai for a long time, which is why I knew there was a heavy meaning to what he said.
でさ、葛西、実はさ私もなんだけど。
入ったんですか？
Ooh, she's admitting it to Kasai. That's interesting.
西宮殿に？シオンさんが？
その高野さんに一緒にどうって誘われてさ、高野さんと富武さん、そして私とほら前原屋敷に引っ越してきた圭一って男の子と一緒に4人で。
I heard Kasai sighing heavily. Even though he didn't say a word, I could tell he was shocked. I'd never known him to act this way before.
シオンさん、去年ああいう一件があったばっかりなんですよ。今度はどうけじめをつけられるおつもりですか？
Oh yeah. Well, that's probably not on. I mean, it should be on her mind, the punishment, but not that specific one
去年が
anymore.
爪3枚だったから奮発して5枚くらい言っとく。あ、ごめん。でもふざけてるわけじゃないんだよ。そりゃ私だってヤバいとこだって認識はあったよ。少しは。でもさ、そこまでヤバいことなわけ？
シオンさんは仮にも園崎本家に縁ある方です。今さらそんなこと言ってまかり通ると思いますか？
っていうか、だって私ずっと沖宮。ばあさんに嫌われて以降、ひなみ沢にはほとんど近づいてもいない。その上、学園に閉じ込められて過ごしてたんですよ。そんなの私が知るはずないじゃない。
I heard another sigh from Kasai. That sigh told me my excuses would be useless.
シオンさん、私はあなたの味方のつもりです。極力シオンさんを信じてあげたいと思っています。ですが、いくら私でもかばいきれないことがあります。第一、
ごめん。お姉が来たから切ります。じゃね。
Click. I interrupted Kasai and hung up. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear Kasai reject me, he who had been my ally all my life.
チェ参ったなあ。
I could hear the sound of the cicadas. The sound made it feel like I was being cooked on a huge frying pan, making a sizzling noise. I mean, it's a fun way to describe the cicada sound. My dad hates cicadas because he's in like a sort of rural Japan. Apparently they just like fly into your face. These giant insects. Probably pretty annoying. I do hate gross stuff in real life. I don't really mind it in fiction. I couldn't help feeling remorseful. Now I knew that sneaking into the ritual storehouse wasn't a laughing matter. But I really didn't know it at that time. Sure, the door was locked, so they didn't want anyone to go in. Then why did they change the lock? What did they say? I think it was that Rika-chama said that the previous lock was too heavy for her, so she had it changed to that cheap one. That was how Takano-san broke in. If the heavy lock was still there, this wouldn't have happened. I slapped my own forehead. Ha. Then I took a deep breath. I had to calm down. What was the point of fussing now? I'd already passed the point of no return. That's for sure. There was no use thinking otherwise. The head was already dead. Even if she wasn't, she was now at the bottom of the well. Therefore, it was already past the point where I could just cut my fingers off in an apology. I felt so unstable. I'd walked on the fence around the swings at the park before as if I was walking on a tightrope. It was fun because even if I fell, it was only a very short distance. But it wouldn't have been fun if I were up really high. At that very moment, I was in fact already on a tightrope that was a lot higher than the fence at the park. As soon as I took a step, the rope behind me would vanish. I couldn't step back because there was nothing behind me. That was, in short, the current situation I found myself in. Just standing in one spot was all I could do. Even if I never took another step, I'd fall if I wasn't careful. If I forced myself to walk, the danger would only increase. But if I didn't move, I would eventually fall. I would fall eventually. Same thing. I couldn't see what was ahead of me. There was no guarantee that I'd ever find firm ground. But if I stopped, there's only one fate waiting for me. I have to move onward. If staying here guaranteed death, then I'd rather try to walk, even if I died as a result. Even if there was a dead end ahead of me, at least I tried my hardest. I mean, yeah. I mean, you've already done it, you might as well just keep going. It's not like any sort of apology would work, I'd imagine. Even if it was like Mion making the decision, I'm sure she wouldn't. I mean, who knows? But I don't think she would forgive Xion, especially if she goes back into her successor personality. In general, I try to be optimistic. I could accept my life not lasting particularly long, but I wouldn't go easily. I'd struggle as much as possible. I'd already killed the hag. For that, there could be no other punishment than death. I knew my life would end soon. In other words, I was actually already dead.
死人がなおもあがこうとしたら、そりゃ特攻あるのみでしょ。
I clenched my fists tightly as I muttered. Even if I had to die, I couldn't die easily. This was my chance to avenge Satoshi-kun. Who did it, for what purpose, and why? I was going to investigate. I was going to question. I was going to expose. Yes, I was going to settle the score. I carry out the plan I came up with yesterday. I could hide the Hade's death somehow. All I'd have to say is that she hadn't been feeling well since the Watanagashi. I could do it all while pretending to be Mion. Just in case her friends at school became suspicious, maybe I'd start telling them I hadn't been feeling well either. In fact, I feel groggy from my lack of sleep. When I became Mion, Xion would automatically disappear. I'd already told Kasai that I snuck into the shrine storage, so he'd probably end up telling people that I was demoned away due to the curse of Oyashiro-sama. The last person I'd have to think about was the fourth one who snuck into the ritual storehouse, Keiichi Maibara. Maybe I can use him as bait to lure the enemy. Yeah, I remember mentioning that for a last chapter. Sorry, Kei-chan, you're going to be my bait. I felt a little bad since I was starting to like him. With all that figured out, let's do this roll. Well, sort of bad, but apparently not bad enough to reconsider, huh? I'd gone to school as Mion before, so I knew how things worked. It was almost time to leave the house. Well, we might get a happy Satoko here, huh? She was happy before. Oh! Rena! Rena, you still need to work with Xion. And sadly, Xion also has to acknowledge it. If it was just Rena stabbing Keiichi at the end, then Xion doesn't need to acknowledge it, but sadly, the Rena cosplaying as Mion did appear during Keiichi's torture scene, kind of. So they do actually need to know about each other, or it doesn't really work. But I mean, it has to happen eventually, because Rena worked with one of the Sonozakis in Anotatashi. At least that's confirmed. So I'm just going to assume it's Shion, considering what's been happening. But I guess we'll see.
遅い遅い待っててくれたわけ先に行っちゃってもよかったのに。
あれ、ミオン。
Do I remember this? Not really.
お前、顔が赤くないか？
I kind of remember it. I remember it slightly now that we're seeing it, but it's very blurry.
息も妙に荒いし。
Oh.
みーちゃん、ひょっとして具合悪くない？
Guess we should look for possible thumbnails. I kind of didn't even do it last chapter. I don't even think there are sprites last episode. Where's my whipping CG? Just joking. Close up of Rena. Get that Rena service for my Rena fan. Rena put her hand on my forehead.
レナの手、冷たいな。みーちゃん、ちょっとだけど熱あるよ。
You know what? That's even better. Boom.
そんな大したことないよ。半日もすればケロッと治っちゃうって。
本当に大丈夫かよ。あんまり無理するなよ。
あれ、ケイちゃん気遣ってくれるの？嬉しいな。
I'd always thought he was a goofball, so I was a little surprised. I thought they would tease me, but they didn't.
無理しない方がいいと思うな。先生にはお休みだって伝えとくよ。
Look at those blue eyes. You think I don't know you did it, Rena?
大丈
Eventually.
夫大丈
I
夫。
guess you technically didn't do it yet.
風邪薬も飲んだし。すぐに効いてくると思うから。
じゃあ行こうか。くれぐれも無理するなよ。って言いながら。時間
Run! That's even better. It just keeps getting better.
走らないと間に合わない。スリリングな朝になっちゃったね。鈍った体にはちょうどいいカツかもね。
Man, if this is the lines Mian was saying during the scene in Watanabe, which I'm guessing it is parodying because it did do a couple of those scenes already, then that does seem sort of more like an act, huh? If I was only sharper, I would have been able to see it. I mean, if you did find spots post Watanabe with Shion pretending to be Mion, then that should have set your alarm bells off pretty loudly. But a lot of the confirmed spots I thought were pre-Watanabe, so they don't actually matter too much, at least in the mystery aspect. So yeah, but just reading this line is like it definitely feels like Shion thinking of what Mion would say. I did comment on it. Like it obviously seems like Mion, but it almost seems too much like Mion. If that makes any sense.
走ろう。
Yay! Fun.
それでは
Chia,
号令。
what's up?
起立。気をつけ。
I'd made the same mistake before. I never learn, do I?
みーちゃん本当に大丈夫かな。
I do. I am kind of remembering her having like a fever sort of thing.
今日は具合悪そう。
I don't really remember my opinion on that during the Watanabe read through though.
あら、そうなんですの。
Yo, Satoto, look at you. You're not depressed. I just have the worst feeling because I feel like Satoto might like get the worst torture out of everyone. But nice to see you.
それはよくありませんわね。
Honestly, when Satoto enters a scene without dead fish eyes, it already brings a smile to my face. It was a good idea to make them believe I was sick. Even if I did things differently from Mion, I had an excuse.
まああれだ。女の子には体調が悪くなる日もあるってことだな。
Good one.
僕にはそんな日はないのですよ。ニパ
Real? Was there? I thought Nipa's came later, but I don't remember. I know in Anatakashi, I don't think Rika made any noises. Mion's friends kept each other occupied and left me alone. Keiichi Maibara. Sorry. Listening to this song, it sounds... Obviously, it sounds super ominous, but I don't know if this is new or not. Boo! Sorry, I was just checking. I was like, oh my god, did the mic mess up again? But it looks normal, I think. I don't know. He might suddenly disappear one day. I couldn't let that happen, so I might as well torture and kill him. Joking. That would be like letting a fish take the bait and swim away while I was fast asleep with a fishing pole in my hands. Ah yes, yeah, I forgot she doesn't... She just needs that bait. I'm guessing she does find out who... Well, maybe not. Find out who did it at the end. And that's why she kills herself, maybe? Who knows? That should be very spicy. Obviously, that's gonna be the big climax. I'm just saying, if I don't see Rena do it, I'm not giving up on my Rena theory yet. Since the next arc is the Rena arc, so I don't think I guess it depends how it's displayed. I couldn't miss the moment the enemy took a bite of Keiichi. I had to be very careful. But it was impossible to keep my eyes on him 24 hours a day. Spying on him at school like this wasn't good enough. Should I have him meet with Shion and let her explain that he's in danger? Maybe we could set up a strategy together. I didn't think Keiichi realized how serious a crime it was to step into the ritual storehouse. I hadn't, after all. Since last year, all the incidents that related to the curse had probably been investigated in secret. People involved with the three families would know about the incident from last night, but Keiichi shouldn't know anything. If he knew where he stood now, he'd be more cautious too. That should make him aware of his surroundings, and maybe he would notice if anything odd took place. The teacher caught him sleeping, so she ordered him to go wash his face. He walked out into the hallway. I was sleepy too. I had to be alert, but I couldn't clear my mind due to my lack of sleep. I decided to go home early. Since I'd been pretending to be sick since morning, my request was approved. Is this the scene where Mion, or what I thought was Mion, confronted Keiichi about the storehouse? As I exited the building, I saw Keiichi washing his face.
やっぱケイちゃんはこっちの流しを選んだか。表の方が気分いいもんね。
あ、ミオンか。
I feel like Keiichi's sprite just has like a resting, pissed off face. I don't know. He looks peeved in that. He looks peeved a lot in a lot of scenes.
授業サボるなよな。
It looked like it felt refreshing for him to wash his face with cold water. I washed my face too, but it didn't feel as good as it looked.
ミオン、風邪の方はいいのかよ。眠いのは寝不足じゃなくて、 風邪薬の副作用なんだろ？
あはは、実は内緒なんだけど、昨日はお祭りの後で親族の宴会に巻き込まれちゃってさ、それでエンドレスに。
Gulp. I pretended to drink with an invisible glass.
徹夜明けかよ。心配して損した。
Keiichi exaggerated his reaction, but he still seemed worried.
じゃあな、俺は教室に戻るぜ。帰りは気をつけろよ。フラフラして側溝や用水路に落ちるなよ。
Keiichi turned around to go back to the classroom.
そうそう、ケイちゃん。
I stopped Keiichi. He, in response, turned around.
なんだ？
変なことを聞くけど深く考えないで答えてね。
そりゃ内容によりけりだな。
昨日の綿流しの晩さ、富武さんと高野さんに会わなかった？
Ah. I noticed Keiichi's body tense up. His reaction proved that he felt guilty about sneaking into the ritual storehouse. He was frightened that Mion Sonozaki might know about it. I guess this was enough to give him a certain impression of Mion Sonozaki.
富武さんと高野さんはわかるよね。ほらケイちゃん、お祭りの前日準備の時、シオンと一緒に4人でお話ししてたでしょ？
I remember that. I could clearly see how dismayed Keiichi felt. He was trying to come up with an excuse.
さあ、どうかな。あったような、合わなかったような。
He was both a bad liar and a bad actor. He wasn't really that intelligent at all. Hey, you haven't seen Transcended Keiichi. It's maybe on par with you when you... Wow. I don't know if Transcended Shion... It doesn't really have that ring, huh? I just call Transcended Keiichi that because he literally said he transcended, which was still like one of the funniest things ever. Well, that would make him a suitable friend for Mion. Haha. He was just a brat, unlike Satoshi-kun. Although when it came to line and acting, Satoshi-kun was about the same level. Maybe Keiichi should be credited for at least trying to tell a lie. Satoshi-kun wouldn't have even said a thing. I didn't need to be thinking about him right now.
そう。じゃあもう一つ質問ね。同じく夕べ、シオンに会わなかった？
This was a very mean question. Keiichi was perplexed as I had expected.
それ、昨日も聞いたよな。俺、あったかどうかわからないって答えたと思ったぜ。
Eh? I'd asked him that yesterday? He just meant that me and Sonozaki asked him that question while he was like walking home, right? I vaguely remember that. In other words, she asked him that after he left the storehouse and got back together with his friends. Damn you, Mion. When I asked her, she said she had no idea we went into the ritual storehouse. Oh wow, this isn't good for Mion. I don't know if that's enough to completely say that Mion's guilty of what Shion's saying. Shit.
そうだっけ？また改めて聞いたら違う答えが返ってくるかなって思って
Bro,
さ。
it's so weird because that sounds so much more ominous from Keiichi's side, but like obviously with Shion, it's just more like a trying to get back on the path. But with Keiichi, it sounds more almost like a threatening tone through his perspective. I mean,
どうしてあったかどうかをそんなに気にするんだよ。
he was getting defensive. Keiichi couldn't hide his panic as he flared up at me.
大したことじゃないの。富武さんと高野さんとシオンとケイちゃんをね、悪く言ってる人たちがいるの。
Oh man.
何が悪いんだかはよく聞いてないんだけどね。
Keiichi was really perplexed now. This wasn't fun at all, but it should still be an interesting game. Yeah? Sure it's not fun at all?
私、ケイちゃんが悪いことをするなんて信じてないから。 でもちょっとだけ聞いてみたかったから聞いてみたの。不愉快な思いをさせてごめんね。
I made sure Keiichi felt a sense of crisis and then left. Good one. Damn. Nobody can tell us apart. We're Mion and Shion, perfect twins. That is true. Very hard to tell. I mean, if you got that, like... I mean, it's not even a tell, that earlier thing that I said. That was, like, super suspicious. If you caught the change, then obviously this whole thing would be unraveled. But that's, like, after like 3 arcs and hitting like this 5th arc, which is technically the 4th arc, I guess, is like I guess you get more antiquated with Mion. Maybe you just won't get that that level of alertness back then. Maybe. When I returned to the Sonozaki house, I saw a woman with an apron on. It was the housekeeper. Her name was Shimito-san. The head had a few housekeepers who took care of the chores around the house.
ミオンちゃん、本当によかった。困ってたんですよ。
ありゃ、シミコさん。
Love that exaggerated tone. Today was her turn to come help out at the house. She'd arrived, but the gate was locked and she couldn't get in. She'd called, but there's no answers, so she'd just been standing there not knowing what to do.
バッチャですね。綿流しの祭りで面白くないことがあったみたいで、昨べからすごく機嫌が悪いんです。
Muted for the train to pass. It's actually cursed.
ああ、そうですか。
Oh man, I just love that. I can just imagine, even though she doesn't have a sprite, the exaggerated like hand over the mouth thing. I love seeing that. See that a lot in like J dramas. Shimito-san tried to remember if she had done something wrong.
別に無視してるんじゃなくて、寝込んでるだけなんです。昨べだいぶ遅くまでカリカリしてたから、多分まだ起きられないんじゃないでしょうか。知ってるでしょ？一度機嫌を損ねたバッチャがどれだけの期間機嫌が悪いかを。
そうですね。困りましたね。
しばらく顔を見せない方がいいと思います。シミコさんに悪気がなくても、バッチャは何かと咎めてくるに違いありませんから。こういう時は私に任せといてください。
そうですか。それは助かりますけど。
シミコさん、申し訳ないんですけど、他のお手伝いさんにもしばらく来なくていいと伝えてもらっていいですか？
Oh, that's why the house was empty.
バッチャの機嫌が治ったらこっそり電話しますから。しばらくそっとしてあげてください。
Playing it very well, Shion. Have to give you that. Shimito-san bowed and then left on her bicycle. Anyone who had ever experienced Granny's wrath would understand. I headed into Mion's room, set her alarm clock for 2 p.m. and crawled into her bed. I needed to recover quickly. I had to be sharp, calm, and cool-headed. School should be out by 2 p.m. Maybe I'd get in touch with Keiichi. I'd have to call him. There would also be a staff meeting at the Furude Shrine Assembly Hall in the evening. All the leaders of the 3 families, their relatives, and the town council members would gather at this meeting. They were all authority figures in Hinamizawa. I'd be attending in the place of the head who was sick. I'd worried about the rest when I got there. People shouldn't notice that Mion and the head were missing for a long time. I didn't need to worry, as I had plenty of time. I checked the alarm once more. Bing. Then fell asleep as if someone switched me off. No chapter break? No chapter break.
もしもし。
Oh, okay. I thought there was an alarm, but no. Keiichi taught.
園崎の妹の方です。
This is when we meet at the library.
こんにちは。
Or
今はお時間
plan to
大丈
meet
夫で
at
す
the
か？
library.
シオンか。ミオンと同じで今日は寝不足で寝込んでるんじゃないかと思ったぜ。
え、ひょっとしてお姉早退ですか？お姉らしい。
Keiichi had no idea that the Mion he saw earlier was actually me. He didn't notice when we talked in person, so there's no way he would notice on the phone. I never knew that playing two roles would be so much fun. Do you feel such enjoyment in this game of life or death? Maybe I was getting used to this situation. Or maybe my senses had gone numb.
ごめんな。ちょっと親が電話待ちをしてるんで、そんなに長話はできないんだ。
Oh yeah, they're going out, right? Actually, I don't remember. I'm guessing they go out, but they do come back for the stabbing, so...
何の用だ？
お話ししたいことがあったんですけど、長電話が無理じゃ仕方ないですね。
じゃあさ、会って話をしないか。ついでに図書館にも案内してもらえるとありがたい。
図書館って駅前の私立図書館ですか？別にいいですよ。バイトのついでってことで。
We decided to meet in Otonomiya. It wasn't easy to get there from Hinamizawa, but I had to hurry. I couldn't run into Keiichi as he was heading there himself. I recalled that the keys to the Heide's motorcycle was in her secret drawer. The Heide usually got driven around for public events, but when she had her own errands, she rode her motorcycle. That's just kind of funny to imagine. I mean, she's pretty old, so that's pretty impressive. Actually, I don't know her age, just from looks alone. Like 70s, maybe 80s. That's what I was assuming, but maybe she's younger. She's still zooming on a motorcycle. Keiichi, I assumed he was going to ride his bike. I tried to get to Otonomiya before he did. Keiichi arrived quite a bit later than me. Motorcycles are faster after all. Oh, who would have known? There's hardly any traffic lights to worry about on the way here either.
ミオンと
Whoa.
違ってシオンは待ち合わせ時間を守るな。
This song during the post-watch Higurashi? That's a surprise. Wow, Mion, hello, why am I reading Keiichi?
しみじみ。
お姉を標準にされるといろいろと困ります。
ん？少しフラフラしてないか？お前も昨夜は寝不足だろ？隠しても無駄だぞ。で、学校を早退したに違いない。
残念でした。私はそもそも今日はずる休みしてますので。私、お姉より容量いいですから。
おいおい。学校をずる休みするのを容量いいとは言わないと思うぞ。
じゃあ先に用事を片付けます？時間もそんなにないですから。図書館へ行くんですよね。
ああ、頼むよ。おふくろの借りてる本の返却期限が今日までらしいんで。図書館は遠いのか？
すぐ近くですよ。
I meant it when I said we didn't have much time. I had to hurry a little. I was just going to talk to him on the phone, but I ended up coming all the way to Otonomiya. After our talk, Keiichi would slowly head back to Hinamizawa on his bicycle. I'd have to rush back there while making sure I didn't run into him. Otherwise, I couldn't make it on time for the meeting. Maybe I could be a little late, but since I needed to hear everything they were going to discuss, I didn't want to be. Okay, blah blah blah, I get it. This was the Shishibone public library. It was sizable, filled with a collection of moldy, smelly books. But they did have air conditioning and it was quiet. It was the perfect place when you wanted to be alone. After Satoshi-kun disappeared last year, I came here a lot to think about various things. This was where I first met Takano-san. I didn't want to run into her with Keiichi in tow, but yeah. But then I remembered she was already dead. Allegedly. Well, officially, but not really. I mean, she could. Blah, blah, blah. Don't think about complicated stuff now, Aiden. You're not running on full brain power. The first floor of the building was occupied by government offices. The library itself was on the second floor, so we had to walk up a huge staircase to get there. That was a transition. Man, dude, I still love this song. Still don't know the name. I believe I was linked it, but yeah, this song's my OG favorite one. I tasted cool air on my skin as soon as I walked through the automated door. Unlike outside, it was very quiet in here. The room temperature was comfortable and suitable for books. I could smell the scent of old pages.
どこの図書館も似たようなもんだな。
I don't mind the scent. Actually, I literally haven't been in a library for multiple years. University library doesn't count, but it's not the same. But from what I remember, I kind of like the book smell. As weird as that sounds. I kind of know. I can imagine what they're talking about though. Keiichi walked up to the return table after he said so. Because it was a weekday, there was hardly anyone around. It really was very quiet. I was going to chat about some ordinary things and then move on to the main subject. After Keiichi returned the books, I invited him to the inner section of the library. Keiichi knew Mion well, but he didn't know me at all. He showed an interest in our life story. This was exactly where Takano-san told me about the true history of Hinamizawa a year ago. I was about to tell Keiichi about things that were very similar to that. Did God have a sense of irony?
言われてみれば、例のおもちゃ屋も親類の人が経営してるみたいだったな。そういえば、エンジェルモートも親類の人が経営してるんじゃないのか？
I told him the reason why the Sonozaki family was so powerful in this area. I assumed that since Keiichi came from the city, there's a good chance he couldn't even begin to understand how one old family could literally control an entire area. Unless I explained it to him how powerful the Sonozaki family was, he wouldn't understand what kind of danger was barreling toward him.
特に金融・不動産関係は強いですね。あと商工会議所の役員も何割かは園崎姓かその親類がついてます。沖宮一帯を評伝に市議会議員と県議会議員にも園崎がいますし。
ちょっと待て。なんだかすごい話になってきたぞ。沖宮の町中に親類が経営する店があって、特に金融・不動産に強い。しかもその上、商工会議所の役員の何割かが親類で、しかも地元選出の議員までいて。
Keiichi counted with his fingers. He was clearly surprised to hear all that about the Sonozaki family. It seemed he was flexible enough to accept even something that sounded outrageous to him. He was starting to understand things, although slowly. The way he viewed Shion Sonozaki was changing little by little, too. That should be enough background information. Now I could go on to explain about Mion Sonozaki, the successor. Then I changed the subject like Takano-san did with me. I'd go on and talk about the curse of Oyashiro-sama and then the series of mysterious deaths.
ひょっとして園崎家ってこの辺り一帯じゃすごいんじゃ。
I forgot where Oishi interrupts in this conversation. Oh, right now. So we didn't get too far. What's up, buddy?
すごいんです。
And this is the last appearance from Shion ever again. A fat man with a cigarette suddenly cut into our conversation. Oishi? Why was he here?
どうもこんにちは。今日はデートですかな。羨ましいですね。
そうだと思ったら邪魔しないでほしかったですね。おいさん。
And we know that Shion actually doesn't hate Oishi. I kind of had the idea that Shion, obviously doesn't hate him as much as Mion, but still dislikes him. But I mean, they kind of have like a partner relationship a bit, so obviously not. And this is a good excuse for Shion to get going, while Oishi will probably inform Keiichi, though differently than what Shion probably expected. I mean, not differently, but like different execution, but same topic. What timing? It couldn't be a coincidence. I knew this man too well. Cornering Keiichi, as per usual. He was crafty, sly, and clever. His presence here just can't be a coincidence. Did he see us somewhere in town and follow us? But why? Did he need something from me, Keiichi, or perhaps the both of us? From what I could guess, I didn't think it was me he wanted something from. It was almost like he was trying to keep Keiichi away from me. Ooh. Oishi was aware I gave false testimony to protect Satoshi-kun last year. Maybe he didn't think he could talk to Keiichi if I was around. Why did Oishi need to talk to Keiichi? It must be about the incident from yesterday. I do believe... No. Because I was gonna say, Oishi saw Keiichi go in with Takano and the Jane, but at the end he said Takano's apparently been dead through that, so he obviously couldn't see Takano, or he wouldn't have said that to Keiichi, unless that's a huge contradiction, but I don't think that exactly is what happened. So I don't know. I think he's just gonna ask if he's seen the people. I'm sure there were plenty of plain clothes officers at the festival, so they had to have seen who was last with the victims. In other words, Keiichi and me. But Oishi knew I was hard to deal with. That was why he was focusing on Keiichi at present. Why did he have to show up at a time like this?
前原さんでしたよね。あなたもタフな人ですね。園崎姉妹を二股かけるなんて。
Good one.
いや、そんな二股だなんて。
Keiichi looked at me, hoping for assistance. He blushed. The way he panicked reminded me of Satoshi-kun. That aside, this wasn't going well. Oishi might even start talking about my relationship with Satoshi-kun. I didn't want him to, nor did I want Keiichi to have any preconceptions. Oishi took a quick glance at me. His eyes told me something. He was purposely talking about the things I'd rather not talk about. He was basically telling me to leave, or he'd continue on to something that was worse than what they were currently talking about. He didn't use words, but his eyes clearly communicated that anyway. Damn that big fat weasel.
ごめんなさい、ケイちゃん。
Well, at least Shion finds Oishi annoying.
私もうバイトの時間なんです。
あ、そうなのか？
I realized that I wouldn't achieve anything like this even if I stayed longer, so I used my part-time job as an excuse to leave. Oishi looked at me and grinned. Damn it. He won today, but I'll win next time.
そういえば、今日はシオン、何か話があるんじゃなかったのか？なんなら。
また今度。あ、バイトが終わったら電話します。夜なら電話大丈夫ですよね？
ああ、大丈夫だと思う。
じゃあ今夜電話しますので、その時に。じゃあ。
Chapter break right on the hour mark, huh? Beautiful. Well, that's gonna do it for today, guys. Though I should see if there's any voiced. Nope. Okay. Fun stuff. Fun seeing Shion acting. But this is literally the role of her lifetime. It's true to see that. I didn't really expect her to be there. I mean, I guess I did expect it from the past chapters, but during the Watanashi arc, I didn't expect it. And I mean, again, if you can somehow catch it, which I guess you can't really, it would have just been a more of a gut feeling, how you can't really like solidly catch that change. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. Unless still something happens that makes her much more unstable. I don't know what exactly. Which interaction does it? Whether Kimiyoshi or Rika, or maybe Satoko, that might trigger her to death. But yeah, we'll see some fun stuff next time. Oh, fun stuff. Fun stuff meaning Kimiyoshi dying. But hey, that's alright for me. But yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you Friday, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. And have a good day, night, whatever. Goodbye.